Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, November the 2nd. We're so glad that you're here today. Thank you so much for joining us. Charles is going to be talking about CalSavers and the 1095A form. And you know what? Some people don't even know what that is. And so we're grateful that Charles has become an expert in this field, and we are looking forward to what he has to say. So thank you so much for being here today. And with that, Charles, please take it away.
Thank you, Saundra. So, as you can see from the title splash page, my first here, it's CalSavers and 1095, just like Saundra said. And so, what I'm going to do is go ahead and get down to it. We're not going to be in dash as much because this part really doesn't go over, what is in dash, except, basically you would add the deduction to the employees. But this is all the information that comes before that. So when we get to uh, CalSavers. We have where it's a opt-out post-tax Roth IRA. If you go to the website that they have, it'll say it's basically a Roth IRA and it's set up in the employee's name. And the idea behind this is for those companies that either are not offering or are not sizable enough to offer a retirement benefit package. This allows the employees that work there to put away money for savings. And so it also will follow the employee from employer to employer. So they don't have, if anybody's familiar with 401ks and they change jobs, it's like, I have to move my 401k. There is a penalty, all that kind of stuff, moving it from Fidelity to Schwab or what have you. This avoids all of that. It defaults to 5% of gross pay. It does say that the savings rate automatically increases by 1% each year till 8% is reached. And the current policy is that employees with 5 or more employees who do not sponsor a retirement plan must administer CalSavers by June 30th, 2022. Currently, there is the availability if you have one employee or more to opt to sign up for CalSavers. It will be a requirement January of 2025. Okay? And I'll show you that information when we get to at the actual website. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go page down. And then this basically tells us what it is, right? And so it goes over the same thing that I just mentioned. This was a way for all California workers can save for retirement. And only employers who do not sponsor a retirement plan and have 5 or more California employees must join CalSavers. That's the current rule right now. They're going, as I mentioned, they are going to have it extended to all employers in the state, but that is not a requirement for anybody that doesn't meet this until 2025. And so what it is that your obligations is if you meet the requirement, you register your company and you notify the employees. They have 30 days to opt out. You submit the information to CalSavers for each eligible employee. You do payroll reports, right? You basically upload the template, and then you do an FTP, a file transfer, directly from the payroll. Well, that one we'll go over, and then you manage payroll deductions, and CalSavers will obtain funds via check or ACH. So basically, they would debit your account for the funds. And the FTP that they're talking about is something that you have the option to do. With us, it is an additional service, and I'll be going over that as well. But it's one of the two. Either you upload directly or the information comes from the payroll provider. And this is data only. This is not the money. This is the information from the payroll saying how much each employee is contributing. Okay? Now, these are not your obligations. You are not required to manage the investment options for employees. I've seen this a lot in different social media where they talk about with Roth, you can actually take the money in there and choose if for the person whose Roth it is, they can choose what it's invested in, things like that. It is not your obligation to advise the employee in any way how to invest the funds in the Roth IRA. It's not for you to process distributions. right? When they come of age to where they use the retirement account, that's not your responsibility. And it's not your responsibility to provide any investment tax advice to the employees. They should be getting that on their own. Now, the employee, they have 30 days to either participate or opt out, so they need to let you know once you enroll. Employees who do nothing are automatically enrolled, so if they're not wanting to participate, they do have to let you know. They can opt out and back in at any time, right? So this isn't something that is only once every year, like in November or something. It is something that they can choose at any time of the year. They can change their contribution rate at any time, and they can manage their account online via phone or using a mobile app of some sorts. The alternatives, if you do have a qualified retirement plan that meets the requirements under the Internal Revenue Code, Section 401A, that refers to basically your retirement plans, the 401ks, 403bs, as it says in the examples. Eligible to receive certain tax benefits, and an employer establishes such a retirement plan on behalf of and for the benefit of the company's employees. So you've gotten yourself a plan provider, all of that set up, and it's part of one of the benefits that you provide to your employees. It meets the requirements under that particular code. You do not need to register for CalSavers. And then if you do have to register, this is where you go to add us as your payroll representative. This is if you're on our service where we are uploading the data for you. Okay. So you would just go here and this is on their actual CalSavers website, which we will look at in a second. You would just go here and go to My Payroll Representatives right here, and then click on Add New. And this is, will an internal person submit payroll contributions to CalSavers on your company's behalf? You would say yes to that. By proceeding, you will give access to an internal person to submit contributions and or access this website on your behalf. You're providing the delegates information. That's us. If you have, this is the information. It's our business address and so forth. If you are going through this and you needed this, you could obviously contact us. We would let you know. In fact, we do have a process where we send you the information and follow through with you. And I'll show you the emails that we use for that in a second. And then this is to what payrolls should we have access? What authorization do you want to give? And it would be the payroll processor. And then this would give all the information you just put in and to verify it and confirm, and you would submit. And then the other thing is adding the bank information. This is for them to debit your bank account. And again, we do not have that service as of right now. The only thing we can do is if you sign up for our CalSavers service is provide the data to them, and that can be significant. If any one of you knows about providing information to a 401k provider, there's a report, you have to upload it. It can get a little bit tricky with that. Our service takes that out of your hands for CalSavers. And then you would just enter the details that they request, routing, bank number, basically kind of the same thing as doing a direct deposit information for an employee. And then these are the emails. I know it's a little small, so let me go ahead and zoom in. Okay. So what we have here, let me zoom out just once. So what we have here is this is the email. The top one is the email for when you're just getting set up for CalSavers. And I'll go ahead and read off some of this. It says a CalSavers integration setup occurs in two parts. You will need to complete the first part, and we give you the instructions for it. We also have a PDF that we send to you on the instructions, which is much like what the pages we just saw. So it's the instructions to go to the CalSavers web portal. And once that's done, we will complete the setup on our side. In addition, our CalSavers integration service is offered at $20 per payroll, but it is something that saves you a little bit of bookkeeping and submission of the information to their website. So you would get started by logging into the web portal and completing the steps we have listed on the email that we send you, which of course you have that email in front of you. You just follow the lines. And again, it's just following what we just saw, those screenshots of the different steps. So once you've completed the step, please reply back to us so you let us know you've completed that, and then we go through and take care of it on our end to complete the section as the payroll processor. And then also there's another email we can send you. Thank you for completing the CalSavers setup. Please review the attached report. This is where we send you a report to verify that the information is correct before we send it over to CalSavers. And then another email that we have that we send out is, let's see. Oh, it's actually the same email. So it is the same email and all that. So let me go ahead and go back down to the regular size while we're doing that, and then go page down. And so that's everything on the CalSavers side. I'll get to the web pages in a second, but I also wanted to mention that we're also going over the Form 1095. But let me go ahead and bring up the CalSavers websites. So these are the ones that we have here. This is the CalSavers Retirement Savings Board. It's treasurer. It's under the Treasury, CalSavers, and it's basically information saying the deadline for the employers with 5 or more is passed, right? So this is all, it's got the little links here, webinar schedule for their services, link to for the employers, link for the employees, and a direct link to the CalSavers site itself. And that would be this site right here. And it also has information for the employers and then information for the savers or the employees. Okay. And, scroll through, saving for retirement just got easier, and all sorts of information about the CalSavers. I'm going to click on the next link. This is actually the employer section. And I went directly to this because this is where it has the 1 to 4 employees. The register for CalSavers started on January 1st, 2023. So as an employer who has less than 5 employees, at least 1, you are now eligible to register and then have your employees sign up if they wish to. Again, they can always have the option to opt out. And then the registration deadline for employers with 1 to 4 employees is December 31st, 2025, not January. I had that wrong. So that is the requirement for that. But you have, the rest of this year, the rest of next year, and the rest of the year after to have that go into effect. So that is what we have here. And it also gives your company may be exempt from participating if it sponsors one of those tax qualified retirement plans, does not employ any employees other than the owners. So if you are self-employed and we are processing your payroll, that's fine. Or you closed in 2022, religious organizations, tribal organizations, government organizations are exempt, or you merged with another company. So those are the things that will allow you to be exempt. Everything else is if you do not offer an employer-sponsored retirement plan and employ at least 1 employee other than yourself who is age 18 or over. So those are the requirements. If I scroll up a little bit more, it's got other information in here, your role as an employer, all sorts of information. This is the employer.calsavers.com. That's where that is. And again, you also have the main website, which is saver.calsavers.com. All of that information is there. And before I get back to that, I just want to, that's everything on the CalSavers. Then I'm going to go back to my information on here for the Form 1095. And the Form 1095 is used to report certain information to the IRS about individuals who enroll in a qualified health plan through the health insurance marketplace, right? So that's when you have somebody going through Covered California. Form 1095 is also furnished to individuals to allow them to take the premium tax credit to reconcile the credit on their returns with advanced payments of the premium tax credit or advanced credit repayments and to file an accurate tax return. This is actually taken from the instruction guide for the form itself. And so this is when they're using Covered California. You do not have a medical plan that you provide them, so they're using this in order to have medical and so forth. And who must file is health insurance marketplaces must file Form 1095A to report information on all enrollments in qualified health plans in the individual market through the marketplace. You do not file a Form 1095 for a catastrophic health plan or separate dental policy, called a standalone dental plan, in the instructions that they provided. Now, there are two other forms besides this. There are Form 1095B and Form 1095C. Form 1095B is used to report certain information to the IRS and to taxpayers about individuals who are covered by minimum essential coverage and therefore are not liable for the individual shared responsibility payment. So this is one where it's like there's certain requirements that you have in order to do the 1095B. And then for the Form 1095C, that's filed and furnished to an employee of an applicable large employer, an ALE, who is a full-time employee for 1 or more months of the calendar. ALE members must report that information for all 12 months of the calendar year for each employee. Now, this is the one that I receive, and I'll show you these forms right now. I'm just going to go ahead and bring that up. We'll bring it up right here. So this is about the Form 1095A, and it lists all the information. It has the instructions, and it has the actual form, which is this one right here: recipient information, covered individuals, and coverage information. You know, which months they're covered, the premiums, and so forth. So if they're in the marketplace, they're in Covered California. They're covered by Covered California, and in California itself, that the name of the plan may be different in different states. And so it shows that information so they can get their credit for being enrolled in that. And then the next one, this is about Form 1095 health coverage, gives the instructions. And also there's the form right here. And this is the one, you know, it mark each month, they give the information and all of that. And then this last one here is about Form 1095C. Again, it gives you a description, the instructions. These are all IRS web pages. I find the IRS to be a great resource for pulling up any information. IRS.gov is my go-to whenever I have a question about a federal tax form, and I find all the information I need here. And that form, the 1095C, this is the one here. And this is the one that I've seen for myself, where it just marks each month that I have coverage. Right? So those are the different forms depending upon if you have a benefit for the employer that you've provided, for the employee that you've provided, or they're going through the marketplace, which in California, again, is Covered California. Now, these 1095Cs, that is something that we also provide as a service where we can prepare them on behalf of our clients if they so choose. And those will show up when you're in Dash in the same place as the W-2s or 1099s do, right, on their tax form. So it'll show up there when we complete them. And so going back to the little list here, this shows you the different links for the different locations, right? The CalSavers ones, the Treasury one that we looked at, the employer, and then the Saver pages. And these are the different pages for the 1095A, 1095B, and 1095C. So we have all of that available for you. And there was something else that Saundra wanted to bring up. And I think before we get into questions, if Saundra, you would want to talk about the I-9, which I also have right here.
Thank you, Charles. Can you make it a little bit larger?
I'm looking for that right now. Zoom. There we go.
Thank you. That's perfect. Okay. Well, we've talked about the I-9 form quite a bit in the last few webinars, primarily because we at PayrollCentric want to be sure that our employers are well informed. The I-9 is a very important form when you hire a new person, and they've recently changed the way we verify people, especially those remote workers. One option to verify eligibility to work in the United States is by using a service called E-Verify. And that allows you to remotely certify that they have the right documentation to work. And you can record that on page 2 of this form. The form has changed, and as of November 1, you must use the latest version of the form. So Charles, if you could scroll down to the bottom, it will show you what version it is. Form I-9, edition 8/1/2023. That is now a requirement to use. We had some that were from 2022. I think they basically just changed the verbiage of what is necessary to have you verify their eligibility. And there are also additional lines for people who assist your workers in filling out the form. But just make sure you do not need to replace any I-9s you currently have on file. This is going forward, effective November 1. This is the form you need to use. And I got it just by plugging in Form I-9, Homeland Security, and it popped up for me. So just to be sure that you get the right one, go right ahead and go to that website, and you'll be able to find it. There are also certain qualifications that you need to do going backwards during COVID when you did remotely verify eligibility. And those instructions are also on that website. We've also talked about that in past webinars, that if you did, in fact, verify your new hires remotely, you need to redo page 2, but not have them redo a whole I-9. Linda Duffy was very clear about that in her webinar, and I think that was on July the 13th when we did that webinar. So look back on our YouTube page. You can listen to her explanation. She was very detailed in how you update that information. And then since that webinar, that's when they came out with, well, you're not going to fly somebody from, Texas to California to look at their driver's license. So you can now use a service called E-Verify. And that's also used to determine whether or not the Social Security number is correct, as well as I believe. But that, if you have that, that's a benefit for you to be able to make that part of your verification easier. Just wanted to be sure you were informed. So that's all I have to say about that. If there are any questions you have, if you want the slide deck that Charles included with all of those great links, please email me. My email address is up there in the chat, stampley@payrollcentric.com. I will be happy to send you a copy of Charles' deck. I really appreciate you being here today. We hope that these webinars are helpful for you. We are considering not having a webinar on the 16th, but on the 9th, we are going to go over line by line the year-end checklist to help you have a successful year-end. Those checklists are very important for us to be able to do our job. And so we're going to ask that you pay attention when that checklist comes. It'll come sometime in the next week or two. And we need you to complete it, please, and submit it to us so that your payroll specialist can properly process your request and get it to our tax department to get your year-end tax filings done and W-2s. And as Charles and I recommended to you a couple of weeks ago, now's the time to take a look at all of your addresses for your employees, both current and past employees, to be sure that you're up to date on their addresses so that those W-2s get sent to them by the deadline, which is mid-January. So that is it. So thank you so much for joining us today. We want you all to have a fabulous day. Thank you for being part of the PayrollCentric family. Goodbye for now.